Hello everyone, Leo here today to talk about the game Control. This is a game I bought very cheap, that's why I bought it, but I also saw some good reviews for the game. People that I think worth a buy gave this a good review, and I think generally speaking also user reviews are pretty good. I decided to try it out, and I definitely see why the reviews are good for it. It's a well-made game in many ways, many senses. Even though it's not a game I particularly enjoyed too much, as I see me dying there, I'm not very capable of playing this. But it's still, I do think it's a well-made game, in many aspects, and I will focus a lot on the criticism, but I'll say the controls are very good. I really like the mechanics, and that's why I decided to make this video, even though I don't like the game, in the end, because I do think for this is very close to being a game that I enjoy. I would just like it to have different design choices in some areas. And so again, mechanics are good. You have this power where you grab stuff and you can throw it. Uh, and you also have this gun, this paranormal uh, mutating gun that is your gun. You don't have an ammo limit, even though you have to reload. So I like that. I don't like these. I don't like having ammo limits in games. Uh, there is a really cool mechanic where your life regeneration in this game comes from orbs that the dead enemies drop, and so you can uh, uh, recuperate life, right? Energy, your energy by killing enemies. So you can't just camp out. You can't, right, and wait out or something like that. And so it's an intelligent choice. And the game's all like that. Like all the mechanics are pretty good. The graphics obviously are amazing. Even though I'm not sure you can see it here. Yeah, you can see the walls themselves have these ugly, low quality textures sometimes, uh, and they're not supposed to. Right? It's just a bug. Half the time the textures are not loading properly in the game. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't even know why it happens this way, but it does always. And it's not because the notebook can't handle, I mean, it can handle medium settings or high settings for the textures with its 6 gigs of VRAM. I mean, this is not that, it's not a that heavy game. I'm not using ray tracing because I can't, so it should be able to, and it doesn't. Which is, I mean, the kind of problem that I have with the game, like it does these things right, and then there's always some drawback to it, like the graphics being this amazing, but I mean it's just an office building. Like it's still boring after a while to be walking around in an office building, even though the graphics are so good, and so all that all that kind of stuff. But this all I would easily look past. It's not a problem. But the problem that I have is that I have these mechanics. I have this mechanic of throwing things. I have my gun and everything and good controls. I could jump, can move around. But the game doesn't really use these mechanics as well. I mean, I just gonna make the comparison, the stupid comparison of comparing this to Celeste. Celeste is a game where you gotta jump. Later on, you gotta, no, from the beginning, you gotta jump, you gotta double jump, and you gotta dash. And then the developers look at, the game, they look at these mechanics and they say, okay, these are the mechanics that we have. How can we use them in interesting, varied ways? Let's do everything that we can with these mechanics, make the game varied, make it intuitive for the player to figure out what is happening and how they're supposed to deal with this, right? And let's polish every level, every interaction, every place, so that this feels clever, this feels interesting all the time. This game is the opposite. Like they waste so much time making the game look amazing, making all these stories and things, and it is cool. I mean, fine, but the gameplay itself, the gameplay loop of going around and killing enemies and throwing things and solving puzzles, uh, gets quite repetitive. And it doesn't have to be, because you do have great mechanics and the capability of making more different enemies or making different combinations of them that make you solve them in a interesting way. All this potential is here, and I'm not saying there is zero of that here. There is some level design. The enemies are quite smart. They're throwing grenades at you and everything. Uh, but just to me personally, it's my personal uh, design philosophy or gameplay philosophy when I'm playing the game. What I want to see is even more intuitive designs and even more varied designs and things, and I don't care about I would much prefer a simpler look at those textures. uh, Much simpler design. I don't need this, right? I can have this be empty. I can have this be, or just be much lower graphical quality. I don't mind. It's fine. I just want to have, uh, you know, a level design that is, you know, challenging to the correct point, but also varied and interesting and clever, right? And that is really fun for me when I'm playing the game. And just walking around these empty corridors trying to figure out where I'm going is not especially fun to me. And so I really wish, I mean, there are quote unquote puzzles in this game, but the puzzles, you're gonna see them later. You literally just grab an item and throw it onto a slot that is for that item. That's all there is to the quote unquote puzzle. I don't even know why they bothered doing this. But it could have been a cool puzzle, or there could have been cool puzzles that you have to solve with. I mean, also the platforming is so underdeveloped, and maybe people don't like platforming. They really want this to be a shooter, but then in my opinion, if you're not gonna actually do the platforming well, just don't do it at all. There is no, I don't, you're doing puzzles that are not, that you don't have to think to make, and you're doing platforming where you don't have to have any platforming skills to make, so don't do them. Just let, the game doesn't need to have platforms, doesn't need to have puzzles. If it's a third-person shooter, make it be a third-person shooter, and focus on that, right? And make it as good as possible, and that's it. So even here, some of the textures are not loaded.
45 seconds remaining.
Again, I just feel, look at the puzzle. That's a puzzle. Grab the box, throw there. That's the puzzle. And in the game, it's gonna be the same.
30
Even though it's
seconds
just
remaining.
training session. In the game, the puzzles that I solved were exactly like this, so there's no point. So I do recommend, if you like third-person shooters and things like that, or shooters, just look at the footage and think maybe this is something you might like. Don't get like, don't leave my impressions of the game colored too much. You know, your decision making as far as trying this one out, it can be lots of people reviewed this positively, and I see why. I think it can be a good game for you, depending on your expectations. I just hate getting lost in these kinds of places, and the combat didn't really click with me. I found it kind of annoying, but it's like really interesting. It's not piece easy as too many games are. You have to strategically think your
Get
encounters
ready,
and
Ranger.
everything.
Course
So
starting in 5,
maybe you
4,
go look at actual
3,
reviews for this
2,
game and see whether this is
1.
something for you. The game, you know, was a
Go.
hard to run game back then. Nowadays it's not anymore. Maybe you're playing this on the consoles and you don't even have any of these technical issues, or maybe they do have it on the console too. I don't know. But the story is quite interesting. Like if you like this kind of paranormal, kind of half technological, half just paranormal plot thing with tons of mystery and everything. This this is impressive, right? Like this is um, it's quite well made, and I even enjoyed the story a bit. You know, uh, not my kind of stuff. If I was a lot into that kind of paranormal, uh, secret agent, secret agency, uh, conspiracy theory stuff, you know, I would probably just keep playing the game even if I didn't enjoy the gameplay that much, just to see the story. I might watch the story on YouTube or something, because it's actually pretty good. Like rarely does a game have a story this good. So yeah, uh, I do think it's a game that I recommend you just take a look at, different reviews and stores and whatever, and especially if you can find it as I did for a very low price. I don't regret buying this at all. I think I got my money's worth out of this game for sure. I just prefer games that are more focused on simple gameplay. And this is even another thing that I actually like because I have the telekinetic thing power, and I have the gun, and the gun transforms, but the controls are actually relatively simple. I don't have to master 50 different buttons. The mechanics are clear and, simple enough. It's just that, uh, I don't know, I got tired of this. As you see, throwing a grenade at me and everything. And the fact that I need to kill the enemies and grab the orbs to recover health is very clever and doesn't make it. Because again, there is a level of balance to all of this, right? And here I'm gonna die in the video, but uh, there is a level um, of balance to this, right? And so it is really cool the way they did it. It just doesn't click for me, and I recommend you take a look at the game. If you have already taken a look at it, the screen is black. My footage ended. Uh, if you do like the game, or if you have played the game, tell me what you think about it, and I'll see you guys around. Bye.